Okay, section 2.5, order of operations. This is a relatively easy section as it is all about what you already know, and that is PEMDAS. Okay, now remember what these stand for. Actually, let's go to the next page here. P, PEMDAS. P is for parentheses. That's the first thing you do when you do a math problem. The E, here's PEMDAS. So always look for parentheses first. Then you look for exponents, multiplication and division. These are on the same level. So you always go left to right with these. In other words, you start from the left and whatever comes first, whether it's multiplication or division, and then the next multiplication or division, and the next multiplication and division, go left to right. And then same with addition and subtraction. Since these are actually on the same level, you go left to right with these, whichever one comes first in the problem. Okay, pretty easy stuff. So let's go to the example here. And they have, let's see if I can focus this in a little better. They have 18 minus 8 times 4 squared divided by 3. So when you get into a fraction, always, always start but with the numerator, then do the denominator, then do that division for the last one. Okay. So if we look for at the top here, the numerator of 18 minus 8 times 4 squared, and then we do the denominator separately, which is 3. And there's nothing to do in the denominator, so we're just going to be carrying that 3. Okay, numerator, no parentheses, but I have an exponent. So do that one first. Minus 8, 4 squared is times 16. Now, I know a lot of students like just put this all in a calculator, but if you don't put it in there just so, you're going to get the wrong answer 9 times out of 10. Okay, multiplication division. So we have multiplication next, okay, because I have 8 times 16, and 8 times 16, let's see, 48 could be, I'm not going to do this in my head. See if I can get my calculator working. Okay, so 8 times 16, yep, 18 minus 8 times 16 is 128. Then I'm still looking at that numerator. And then I have addition and subtraction. Subtractions first. It's going to have 18 minus 128. 18 minus 128, please. As long as you got a calculator available, use it. So I have negative 110 divided by 3. Now, I'm going to see if this reduces. So I'm going to take my negative 110 divided by 3. I'm going to hit enter, and then math, enter, enter. And I end up with negative 110 divided by 3. So that's simplified. That is my answer. Okay. When you have a fraction, as long as you don't have parentheses anywhere, do the numerator and denominator separate. Okay, some more examples. 2a. See, parentheses, I have -3, which is actually -1 times 3. Nothing to do there, it's already done. Let's see, no exponents, multiplication, division, nope. Addition and subtraction. So I do have subtraction here. I've subtracted -3. 4, subtract -3. You could always think of this as a 2/ rule back in grade school. And I have 4 plus 3, which is 7. Or if you don't trust yourselves, use your calculator. 4 minus -3. Okay, B, I have absolute value bars. Be careful. Anything that comes out, in order for me, remember, in order for me to drop those absolute value bars, you have to make that a +3. So I have 4 minus +3. And then I have subtraction, 4 minus 3, 1. C, parentheses, -3, nothing I can do there. Exponents, -3 squared. Now, if you don't put -3 in parentheses, square it, you're going to get a different answer. If I just take -3 squared, oops, -3 squared, I get -9 because appendus, remember, parentheses first, then squared. Here I have no parentheses, I'm taking the 3 first, and then multiplication -1 times 3. That's why I get -9 instead of +9. Okay, so I have 4 minus +9, 4 minus 9, -5. And then lastly, let's see, I have 2 parentheses. So this parentheses, I'm not doing anything. So I have parentheses 4 minus -3, and then square it. So again, 4 minus minus is a plus. I have 7 squared, which is 49. Okay, because I was able to do something in parentheses first before I squared it. So just remember, this is really a good chart here. Start with expressions within the grouping symbol, whether it's parentheses, brackets, absolute value, fraction bars, or root symbols. Okay. Simplify exponents and roots, perform multiplications and divisions left to right, and then perform addition and subtraction left to right. Okay, 3A, no parentheses. I do have exponents. That would be my next. 5 squared is 25. Then I have addition, 28. Parentheses, everything else is the same. I'm going to do parentheses first. 2 minus 6 is -4 squared. Then I have, see, nothing to do in the parentheses now, I did it. So then I have exponents of 2, so 7 minus 3, -4 squared is 16. Okay, multiplication division, see, 7 minus 3 times 16 is 48, and then 7 minus 48 is -41. Okay, see, I have a square root, so I got to do that math symbol first. So I have 4 cubed minus the square root. So I need to look what's in that square root and follow appendus in that square root. 16, well, there's an exponent, so that's first. 16 times 2 squared is 4. 4 cubed. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that because there's nothing attached to that. 4 times 4 is 16, times 4 is 64. 16 times 4, 64. And the square root of 64, I'm just going to keep it square root of 64 all over 4. So I have 64 minus the square root of 64 is 8 all over 4. 64 minus 8, 56 divided by 4. And I believe that does, let's see, 54 is 1, 14. Indeed. See, I'm going to do this first. Kind of like, remember what this looks like, and actually what it is. It's a quadratic formula. Square root of 5 squared minus 4 times negative 3 times 2. Just doing the square root first. Just a radical. Do exponents first, 25, and then multiplication. So minus 4 times negative 3 is negative 12, times 2 is negative 24. So I have the square root of minus and minus is plus 49, and the square root of 49, 7. I'm going to take that 7. That's what this whole square root is equal to. Substitute, substitute it back in for the square root. So I get negative 4 plus, instead of all this, putting in 7 divided by 2. Negative 4 plus 7 is 3 halves, and that's reduced. Quadratic formula. Evaluate the expression 2 minus 3x squared when x is negative 2. In other words, substitute negative 2 wherever you see x. Okay, so I have 2 minus 3 where we're seeing x. I'll get negative 2 squared, all divided by 2. Okay, I have no parentheses, or I do, but it's already done. It's negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. I'm going to take negative 2 squared, that's exponents next. So 2 minus 3, negative 2 squared, 4. Multiplication. Say I have 3 times 4 is 12. Again, I'm going to finish doing the numerator first. 2 minus 12 is negative 10 halves. Then I'm going to go ahead and do the fraction, or reduce it, simplify it, negative 5. Okay, and then they're going to take PEMDAS and they're going to apply it to formulas. This is converting Fahrenheit to Celsius and Celsius to Fahrenheit. And they're going to use PEMDAS and formulas like this. So if I look at the formula, A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N to the NT, which, by the way, is compound interest, where N is the number of times of the year, T is the actual time, R is the rate, P is the principal. So if I invest P dollars in an interest rate as a decimal times a year, the variable T is the number of years, is exactly what I said. Assume you have $1,000 to invest. So P is my initial amount, which is $1,000. At an interest rate of 3 5/8%. So my rate is 3 5/8%. I need to change that to a decimal. I'm going to use my calculator to make my life easier. 1.875%. Move my decimal point, so that's 1.875%. Move my decimal place 2 places to the left. Got 0.01875. Compounded monthly, so that's my N, the number of times compounded monthly. There's 12 months in a year, and for 20 years. So T, total time, 20 years. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all in a formula. So A, sometimes we use Y, equals P, which is 1,000, times 1 plus my R, which is 0.01875, divided by my N, which is 12, all raised to the N, which is 12, times T, which is 20. Make sure you put those in parentheses in your calculator. Okay, so I have 1,000, parentheses, 1 plus 0.01875 divided by 12, raised to the parentheses, 12 times 20, parentheses, and hit enter. So after 20 years, my $1,000 becomes $1,454.57. Make sure that seems reasonable. Start out with 1,000 and I'll put 1,450. Yeah, it seems reasonable. Okay, 6A in statistics. There is a formula for the lower fence in box and whisker plots, where the lower fence equals quarter one, Q1, minus 1.5 QR. Find the lower fence when 1 QR equals 33 and Q1 equals 60. So we're still looking for the lower fence. Our Q1 equals 60 and 1 QR equals 33. So minus my 1.51 and my 1 QR equals 33. Okay, just plug all that into my handy dandy calculator here. I've got 60 minus 1.51 times 33. And I get 10.71. Add another formula in statistics is the z-scores, where z equals the mean minus the mu divided by the range. So find z-score associated with x equal 85. So we're finding z. Mu, or m, equals 100. X equals 85 minus mu, which is 100, all divided by, I think that's sigma, which is 15. Okay, 85 minus 100, negative 15 over positive 15, which is negative 1. That was pretty straightforward. And here we have the following formula calculates the payment for mortgage. Yikes. P is the principal. N is the number of payments per year. T is the number of years. R is the annual interest rate as a decimal. Okay, so let's change that interest rate to a decimal. See, 0.041. So my mortgage equals my principal, 150,000. I have 1 plus R, which is 0.041 divided by N monthly. So I had 12. 12 raised to the 12 times T is 30, all divided by 1 plus 0.041 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 30 minus 1. Okay, let's see how much we can do to clean this up. Okay, numerator. I'm going to leave the 150,000 there for now. Numerator. 1 plus 0.041 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 30. And I get 3.414 all divided by, well, it's the same thing all the way up to here. We're just going to minus 1. Minus 1. I get 2.414. Then I'm going to take 150,000, multiply it by 3.414 divided by 2.414, and I get 212,137.53. Makes sense? Let's see, a 30-year mortgage for a $150,000 house. It's over, yeah, about $62,000 in interest. And that's it for 2.5.